A jolly good morning to you. Watching the Channel 9 Breakfast Show on Monday, the 16th of March. I'm Nikki Dean.
And I'm Byron Evans, and this morning we've been talking put-downs, which started off in a story in the papers last week. Basically, Trinny from Trinny and Susanna gave a bit of a mouthful to Claire Balding, you know, the horse expert.
Yes, the short blonde hair.
She looks a bit like a Shire, doesn't she?
Don't say that.
But no, when it was just the expertise, people kind of fall into their, you know, those...
It's a bit like starting to resemble your dog, is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But Trinny was a little bit more scathing than that. She said to Claire, I see you dressed for radio.
Oh, put those claws away, Trinny Woodall.
I know. So, but anyway, Claire told her viewers on Channel 4, obviously she does the racing on there, that she told them this. It was a big response from viewers and lots of comments. And then also they started to list some of the best put-downs by famous people throughout time. So, for example, she got her good looks from her father. He's a plastic surgeon. Groucho Marx.
Of course.
A modest little person with much to be modest about.
Ooh, that's an inverted compliment there somewhere, isn't it?
Winston Churchill said that. And Noel Gallagher, R.I.P. Heard your latest album with deepest sympathy, Robbie Williams.
Ooh, that's a nasty one, isn't it? I've got one for you. Hair looks nice. Been on a motorbike.
Yay!
Say that if you know anyone with particularly rubbish hair. Looks like they've been windswept on a motorbike. Or, you smell nice. Been jogging.
Yay!
Try them today. You'll make lots of friends.
Went out with a girl last month. She was so short, she smelt of feet. I love that one. I love that one. Or, actually, I better stop because I don't think most of them are broadcastable at 8:30 in the morning.
No, you might get yourself in a bit of mischief, love, mightn't you?
Yeah, but if you've got any great put-downs, please don't hesitate to contact us. breakfast@channelm.co.uk. Text us 88821, start your message with show, and put your name on the text message and we'll read them out. It's just a bit of fun.
Yeah, Byron will use them all week to taunt the crew, won't you?
Oh, God, honestly, I'm going to start writing lists. Yeah, please feed them to me so then I can insult the crew. It makes them feel part of the team.
Yeah, of course. Banter, it's called, isn't it? Banter.
In a few minutes, all the latest sporting headlines with Mike Bradley, and we're talking about that royal appointment. I've been trying to say that all morning. The royal appointment in Oldham. Not really that amusing now I've bumbled it. But first, let's get the latest headlines with James.
Good morning. Here are Monday's main headlines so far. A gas explosion has badly damaged a house in Great Lever. The blast happened shortly after 7 o'clock. One adult and 2 children have escaped from the property on Green Lane with help from a neighbour. Anti-terror messages are to go up in Manchester's hair salons, petrol stations and supermarkets. It's the first time such places have been used to warn people to look out for anything suspicious. A series of posters and video messages are to be used to promote a hotline people can call if they see something that they're worried about. The government's already distancing itself from proposals to set minimum prices for alcohol. A report by the country's top medical officer, Sir Liam Donaldson, will recommend shops being forced to charge at least 50p per unit for drinks. That would make a can of beer £1 and a bottle of wine £4.50. Health experts say it's necessary to cut the number of people binge drinking, but the Department of Health's unlikely to bring in the change with so many people struggling because of the recession. Well, we want your thoughts on this. What do you think to the idea? Send me a text to 88821. Start your message with the word news, or you can email us as well, newsdesk@channelm.co.uk. A woman charged with murdering her 2 young sons here in Manchester late last year is due in court later. Jael Mullings is accused of stabbing 2-year-old Romario and Delano, who was 3 months old. They were found dead at their home in Cheetham Hill in November. 150 soldiers have marched through the centre of Bolton as they were awarded the Freedom of the Borough. The members of the 1st Battalion, the Duke of Lancaster Regiment, were cheered along by crowds of people from the town.
This is the great occasion of the conferring of the Freedom of Bolton on the new regiment. It's the mere fact that we have had this honour placed on us that really is the most important aspect to this. It says that this town supports us, it supports us in what we are doing, and no soldier likes to go and do what he has to do without the feeling that those back home are right on his right shoulder, looking after him and rooting him on. This, in many respects, is a manifestation of that support. I think there's a resurgence of real interest in the military in this country, and it's up and down the length and breadth of the country. It's not just in the northwest. I think people more and more appreciate the really tough job the military have, not just the army, but the Navy and the Air Force as well.
Jade Goody's family say they're preparing themselves for the end. The terminally ill reality TV star's conditions deteriorated over the weekend. Her publicist Max Clifford says they're waiting for the inevitable, which could come at any time. She's told her 2 young sons that the angels are calling her and she'll soon be a star in the sky watching over them. Some of Manchester's biggest unsung heroes have been recognised at an event to mark the end of Peace Week. Community activists who try to make sure the city's children have a peaceful future gathered at the City of Manchester Stadium for the celebration, organised by campaign group Charisma.
And the winner is Dane Willis.
And the winner is...
The Next Generation!
And the winner is Mr. Clive Whittle.
The winner is Anthony Week.
So in the community, I'm more like getting the youth them out of gangs and encouraging youth not to join gangs. Going into schools, doing workshops in schools, doing DJ workshops and included gang-related subjects so we can relate to the youth them. I'm also a street pastor which patrols the streets at night, weekends at night, just talking to people. It's not about come to church, we'll save you. It's not about that. It's about mainly just talking to them, showing them that we're here for them, for the community. If they've got problems, we'll try our best to help them.
The Next Generation is a youth-led youth group which is run by young people, and we aim to get the youth into jobs, college courses, personal development plans, try and keep them off the streets, get them into something constructive. We also do driving schools, mentoring, one-to-one sessions. Basically, we're a group where, young people come and talk to us and we're there to support them.
Finally, for now, a computer virus has knocked out the email systems for the whole of the Manchester diocese. The city's bishop, Reverend Nigel McCulloch, has been one of the worst hit after 1 million spam messages landed in their inbox. They've not been able to get any genuine emails since March the 3rd and are now hoping anyone who's been trying to get in touch will pick up the phone instead. That's it from me for this morning. I'll be back at 12 noon with the Channel M lunchtime news. Andy Crane's here as well from 5 tonight with all the day's headlines from across Greater Manchester. Now, though, the sport with Byron and Mike.
OK, let's start off with a bit of newspaper gossip, shall we? And, well, there's been rumours, and they've been rife, that Terry Venables is making his way up to Geordieland. True or false?
Absolutely false. The club this morning issued a statement saying they will stick with Joe Kinnear. Still recovering from triple heart bypass surgery, but we expect him to be back in charge at St James's Park at the beginning of April.
I mean, it seems almost a bit kind of... I don't know.
A step too far, almost, yeah. But he needs... I think he needs it in his blood, to be quite honest. We don't wish him any ill. He doesn't need the aggravation, but he wants to do it. I think he's managed to persuade Mike Ashley that he's the man for the job. Why waste money on Venables? Because they're not going to get any better under Venables. And at least our boy, he's been there all season and he knows the players. And I think should he recover fully, which, we should do, God willing, and it will be a good appointment. OK, bad news for Chelsea. They may be feeling pretty chuffed about their win over City at the weekend, but they're losing a top player. Yeah, the midfielder Deco pulled his hamstring. It's quite a bad hamstring tear this morning, we've heard, and he will be out for the rest of the season. So good news that they've now gone up to second. Bad news is one of the most influential players, and he played well alongside Ballack over the weekend. He'll be out for the rest of the season. OK, well, let's talk about those influential players at Liverpool. Rumour has it they could be on their way to sunny Spain. Yeah, Xabi Alonso and Stevie Gerrard so impressed the Real Madrid hierarchy during that defeat at Anfield on Wednesday night. They're preparing to table a £100 million bid, Madrid, for the two players. They value Steven Gerrard at £80 million. And you think we sit here every week and talk about players a City going to sign for ridiculous figures. Stevie Gerrard, £80 million. I don't know if Liverpool could afford to turn that sort of money down, to be honest. Yeah, surely, though, I mean, the Anfield faithful there would be riots on the streets of Liverpool if he went, wouldn't there? No change there, then. No. OK, let's talk about Joe Royle's appointment up at Oldham. Yeah, the man who's brought in to replace Sheza, who was fired yesterday, John Sheridan, after shenanigans at a players' night out allegedly last week at Bellevue Dogs. A couple of players fined, a couple of them warned about their future conduct. A 6-2 hammering at the hands of MK Dons led to his dismissal yesterday. Joe Royle was appointed 2 hours later. 59 years of age, Joe Royle. He has been around a little bit. He's managed Oldham before, obviously. Everton, Manchester City, and his last job in the game was at Ipswich 3 years ago. Between 82 and 94, he got Oldham promoted into the top flight. Took them to a League Cup final and 2 FA Cup semi-finals. His brief this morning is get us into the playoffs. Oldham are 8th at the moment without a league win in the previous 3 games. 9 games left. Look at the run-in. Crewe, Brighton, Southend and Walsall. You've got to be looking at least 10 points from those 4 games there. I think they will make it into the playoffs, but questions already remain as to why he wasn't given the job full-time. Why is it just for 9 games? Because personally, I don't think he'll be there in the summer.
You think a certain Jim Gannon may be there, or they may be kind of fishing for him?
I think they are fishing for Jim Gannon, and it's the best-kept secret in sport, and Jim Gannon is unhappy at Edgeley Park. He only turned down the Brighton job because his family didn't want to move. He's got 2 very young children. I think he would jump at the chance of going to Oldham.
I think you and I have said on many occasions we'd prefer it if he stayed at Stockport, but if he was to leave, we want the Gannon to stay in the region,
Absolutely,
don't we?
yeah, so we can talk to him after every game. He's great for a soundbite. Yeah. He'll always come out and talk to you, and he's one of the characters. And if he does leave, like you say, let's pray that it's Oldham. OK, well, speaking of characters, but this one's from Bolton, and Amir Khan, well, what an impressive performance. Oh, sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself because I'm getting carried away with that. Yeah,
getting excited. I suppose we've got to talk cricket, so let's quickly go over 2020.
Yeah, quickly. Another defeat on the West Indies tour for the England cricket team. The first innings in the 2020 in Trinidad, 121 all out. After 19.1 overs, the Windies replied with 123 for 4. After 18 overs, a win by 6 wickets and 12 balls. They won the toss, called it right, elected to field because they knew they could skittle the English out. If only Andrew Strauss could look at that and take some lessons, and Kevin Peterson as well. English cricket in the doldrums, beaten by the West Indies, who themselves are going through a torrid time. So that officially makes us the worst cricket team in the world, so at least we've won something.
Oh, crikey. I think the lads need to stay off drinking at that 2020 and actually start playing the game instead. But moving on swiftly, and let's finally talk boxing, because it was a cracking fight on Saturday at the MEN Arena, and Amir Khan, probably the best performance of his career to date.
Yeah, against a faded star, we have to say. But, he did work hard. He worked hard for 5 rounds. The fight was eventually stopped in round 5. It should have been stopped in round 3. If it had been stopped before the end of the 4th round, they would have had to have a rematch. So you do wonder if there's a conspiracy theory there in the making. But Amir Khan did win, and afterwards, as you can guess, he was pretty excited.
In the fight, everything was going in. His head was going in, his elbows were going in. I don't know if you can see it from outside the ring, but, I felt his elbow a few times on top of my head.
He's a Mexican.
He was tough, and he knew everything, but his caught, I don't know how it happened. And I was catching with some clean shots. I felt very strong in there, and, it seemed like I didn't even get out of second gear. The pace was, I could have upped the pace and fought throwing more punches, but I'm not seen the fight yet. But, every time I kept thinking, look, I'm going to use my brains and just box this guy. It seemed so easy in there. It was a big fight for me, make or break fight. If I lost this fight, then forget about Amir Khan. People would have thought, this guy's very concerned with all the Harrison who made it and just couldn't finish it off. But I'm sure I've proved to a lot of people, how good I am now, and I'm sure the criticism I used to get, leaves off.
So Amir Khan excited. Someone else who drew a great big sigh of relief was big fight promoter Frank Warren.
I think the cut was bad, but I think he was winning every round. I mean, he was vastly superior than Barrera. His speed, his accuracy of his punches. He just seemed strong, physically stronger, and I think had the fight gone on even and been a cut, I think he would have stopped Barrera. We've got to consider the next couple of weeks what the next move is. I would like him to fight again in June. He's got to make a decision whether he wants to do that, and then after that, and then he's having a week off. When he comes back, we'll sit down and look at a few options and hopefully come up with something that's going to satisfy everybody and, more importantly, satisfy him.
Well, I've been reliably informed by Mr. Bradley that we should have an exclusive from Amir Khan, so make sure you join us for that on tomorrow's breakfast show. Time now, though, for a money-saving tip with our debt buster, Richard Fenton.
Market money-saving tips brought to you by Ashton Markets.
Did you know the average family will spend a staggering £22 on sweets and soft drinks during a trip to the cinema? And that's before the cost of the ticket. So next time you and the family go to the movies, give yourself a real treat and stock up on sweets in advance. If you see one movie a month, that's £240 saved.
Market money-saving tips brought to you by Ashton Markets.